Welcome back to another episode of the Autonomy podcast. And this week we are going to talk about goal setting for the new year. It is something that is always talked about every single year is what is your New Year's resolutions? What are you going to achieve next year? And how are we going to do it? And there's so many ways that you can really fuck this up and not to mention not get the goals that you want. So we're going to break down today. I'm going to give you some examples of what I've been doing and what I will be doing in order to get my goals and how I'm going to be thinking about it. You know, me and Emily from the fitness podcast spoke about it on the fitness podcast about goal setting and how ultimately goals are great and we need principles to live by too. So I'm going to go through all of this and give you good examples of how you can set actually effective goals. But before we look at goal setting and what you want to do next year, we're going to have to look at the facts of last year. Now, what did you achieve last year? Did you do the same thing as you do this year, which is that you set goals in January and you never achieved them? Like, what is the factual information that is out there for you to support whether what you did last year was working so you can do the same again? And if it didn't work, then you can't do the same again because it didn't work. So, when I look back on what I wanted to achieve last year, the biggest goals for me in coming into 2021 was firstly, keep body weight exactly the same or near enough the same over the course of the year. Try and hold a stable body weight over the whole year. As well as that, it was obviously prioritize the business and make sure that I was doing everything it can to get it off the ground. A year ago, or January 2021, was a time when the business was very, very small and was just getting to the point where I was taking on new staff because I was doing it all by myself. And the goal was by the end of the year to hit certain financial targets, hit certain client numbers. And if I look factually at the information that I was given and the goals that I set, and I made it visible as well. So over the course of last year, you would see on my Trello board, if you ever had access to my secret layer, would be that you'd see in the 1 year, 3 years and 5 year goals, you would see those 1 year targets of X amount of clients, X amount of money, this, that, and the other personally, get this, drive that, buy this. And you'd have all these kind of set out both physically, business, and, financially what I wanted to achieve. And actually for me, last year was one of those years where, I did completely, or this year, going into next year, is one of those years in where I completely rewired the whole of what I was doing. I was living at home. I then got a house. I then was living from January onwards, I was living in this new flat. I got a dog and I was on track to quote unquote live happily ever after. And I re-upped everything that I did. I realized it wasn't serving me and it wasn't something that I really wanted to. And we'll talk about goals and that in a moment. But ultimately moved back out to Dubai, gave the dog back to my auntie's friend, and then started living the life that I actually loved living before. And I think when we talk about goals and setting them first, is that we have to be realistic about what you truly want and desire. Because you can have all your best intentions of setting goals, but as humans, we're really, really poor at predicting what is going to draw happiness out of us and what is going to make us satisfied, fulfilled, and loving and happy, and all of these things. A year ago, someone would have said to me in January, Nathan, in 6 months' time, you're going to give up everything that you've got in the UK and move back to Dubai because your business is in a place where you can do that, and also you want to. I would have been like, that's not true. I've done all the traveling before. I'm totally tapped out. I don't want to do it anymore. I want to kind of settle down. And I thought for me, having that settlement or the settled in one place was going to give me something that it never really gave me. I was thinking that the being settled in one place was going to give me this fulfillment of being able to be in a stable routine, have this drive and desire, and be able to love each day and come to each day with a smile on my face. And then I did that for 6 months with the business and living in a flat with a dog that I thought was going to give me immense joy. And actually those things didn't give me immense joy. Now, the timing of the dog was very fucking poor and I should have never done that. But I'd always wanted a dog and I just let my emotions finally run over where I was like, I can finally get a dog now. I can get one irrespective of timing and whether it was appropriate. Well, I got one. And then with the staying in the flat, I thought that was going to give me this settled feeling. It was going to give me this enjoyment, this purpose. But actually, all it was you living in a house, and purpose, enjoyment, fulfillment doesn't come from a mechanical thing. It doesn't come from a house. It doesn't come from a relationship. It doesn't come from a dog, or it doesn't come from a gift or a Ferrari or a Lamborghini or a fucking Gucci bag. The level of fulfillment, desire, and purpose come from within, and you almost have to create them. And you have to create them within what you do on a day-to-day basis. So this outcome that I desired, I associated that outcome with the house. I associated that house with that settle feeling, that purpose feeling, that fulfillment. That's right, what I was supposed to do at this moment in time. And then I did that certain thing and realized this isn't all it's cracked up to be. It's actually pretty wank. I like the life I had before. And I was lucky enough to be able to take that jump and make a change very, very quickly. Because if you don't like something, you fucking change it very, very quickly, because it's not going to work. Otherwise, it's only going to get worse if you stay in it for a longer period of time. It's the same example for relationships. It's the same example for places that you live. Same example for jobs. Like the longer it goes on, the worse it's going to feel. And it's going to be harder to break. So when you're looking at setting these goals out and you're setting out your desire points, what is the realistic outcomes of that particular goal? Now, a lot of you who maybe listen to this may be like, I want to get, 10 kilos off. I want to be better shape. I want to get 15 kilos off. I want to get back into a size 6. I want to get back to my pre-marital or my pre-baby weight. And then you associate that with a lot of good times. And a lot of people associate like being a size 6 with that one moment in their life when they were super hypey and they were really nice and they had less responsibilities and less commitments and they were loving their life as a size 6 and whatnot. But they also remember that every day wasn't like that too. They forget about that, but they just want to associate that particular moment with going back to that particular body weight. And body weight and emotions do not correlate. Whether you're 65 kilos, whether you're 90 kilos, or anywhere in between, you can still feel like shit. And you can still feel unfulfilled, unmotivated, undisciplined, not good enough. Still have fear and anxiety and uncertainty, regardless of the body weight. But normally people associate that kind of goal that they've got, not just with fat loss, not just with getting less body fat. They associate it with emotions and the happier places in their life that they were at, or a more stable place in their life they were at. But unfortunately, body weight and body weight manipulation, which is effectively dieting, doesn't give you those things. So then when you go through these diets and then you go through these phases of trying to get more body weight off, and you achieve it and you get more, but the changes in your emotions or your feelings or your mentality don't change because you feel like you're doing something wrong, or you still feel like your life's pretty shit or meaningless, then everything else goes off the rails from there. You stop caring about your body, you stop caring about the goals, you stop caring about everything. But what we need to do is bring it back to what is the desired specific goal and what is actually the outcomes of that. Sure, you may have some more confidence if you lose 10 kilos, but that doesn't mean that you're going to be permanently confident, but you don't work like that. Every emotion that you feel, every feeling that you feel is fleeting. Like if I could feel fulfilled and joyful and happy every minute of my day. This video for a very, very important announcement. I want to invite you all to our Facebook group. We have a 6 Phases to Forever Facebook group, which is a part of our coaching process that is free, that you can get lots and lots of value on a week-to-week basis. I go live once a week. There's plenty of content in there, and there's always special bonus material. You're looking at getting in shape, or how to stay in shape forever. So if you are wanting that, the link will be here somewhere, and then also it'll be in the description. So guys, see you there, and you get to see my ugly mug on a week-to-week basis. I would definitely do it. However, that's just not something that you can do because of the situations, the environment, the stresses that we have in life, the people that we're around. You can't be permanently these type of things, and it's often a delusion of grandeur. But what you can do is you can have more good days than bad days. You can have more happy days than sad days. You can work on when the sad days are sad, you can get them back to being happy very quickly. But people think that if they lose 10 kilos, they're going to be permanently confident, or they're going to be permanently, enthused or motivated or disciplined. And reality is that doesn't happen. Discipline is a formation of your goals, your desires, and how much you're willing to sacrifice for those particular things, not relative to body weight. You could be 140 kilos and be really, really disciplined. You could be 60 kilos and be really shit at dieting. So, there's no correlation there between discipline and relative body weight or relative, emotional subsets. So when we look at goals, we have to look at them completely objective and look at them, say, well, what is the desired result? What is the thing that you're trying to achieve? And then go and chase that particular thing, because the physical changes and the physical body that you can kind of accumulate does have positive impacts. You will be more confident at 60 kilos versus 70 if your goal is to lose less body fat, is to have less body fat, and you can feel more confident wearing that t-shirt or feel more confident wearing that dress. But it doesn't mean you're going to be confident all of the time. So what often gets mistaken is that people chase those feelings and then get often overwhelmed or underwhelmed when those achievements are being made, or they never reach their achievements because they never put the plans in place that were appropriate for them. So you may have seen on my socials and whatnot that I decided to embark on a really long-term goal. And I mean really long term, probably the longest term goal I've ever had, which is in 2023, which is a year and we're probably looking at about a year and 3 months away. I am going to start my diet for competing in men's physique bodybuilding. And I'm going to vlog it all, take you on the journey with me. So it's going to be very exciting. And it's the first time ever I've really felt confident enough to set a longer term goal. And I can tell you the byproduct of setting that already has made infinite difference within my day-to-day routine, how I feel, what I'm doing on a day-to-day. My direction is clear and I see it openly able to be done because I've set that longer term goal. And it means that the shorter term goals can now be then chunked up into what do I have to do next month? Where do I want to be in 6 months? Where's this next muscle building phase? Where's it going to cap out? How many more weeks have I got of pushing my body weight, pushing food up, building muscle, whatever it is? And then you can then chunk it backwards to know exactly what you've got to do today. And I think a lot of people, whether it's down to low confidence or not having achieved things before, that they're really unconfident and reluctant, to set longer term goals, because every time they've done something before, they've set a goal and never achieved it, and especially with the physical body, most people have started a diet and most people have failed on a diet. So therefore, any goals within a goal setting format for fat loss end up being quite short lived because they don't know if they're going to be able to do the goal in 6 months or 9 months or a year or 2 years. And it's really a short-sighted view, but I totally understand based on, having the empathy of having lots of failed diets myself, of how people would feel that they don't want to set that long-term goal because they can't almost guarantee to themselves that they're ever going to get there. But if you're looking at a goal as a guaranteed, we're looking at it for the wrong reason. The goal, and very much like an analogy, the goal is like a destination. Like, so you're in a boat and you're paddling with a paddle and you're heading towards an island. Your goal is that destination. It is that island, and you keep paddling towards it. And you do what you can in the boat to survive, to move forward towards it, and just like pedal as best as you can. You get if you get a hole in the boat, you fix it. You learn how to fix it, and then you keep on going forward. You learn how to perfect your stroke in your paddling with the oar because you want to get there faster or more efficiently. And you just learn these techniques along the way until you get towards that destination. But sometimes destinations aren't the real goal. Because if you never had that goal of going to that destination, you would have never started paddling. You would have never got in your boat, and you would have never tried to explore that newfound destination, that new island with palm trees, Barbadian women, and coconuts, and whatever was going to be on that island waiting for you that you think is going to be there. You would have never started your journey. And that's what a goal is about. A goal is about saying, hey, over there looks nicer. Over there looks great. Let me try and get there. And if I don't get there, then I'm sure there'll be somewhere else that I can go. I'm sure there'll be lessons on the way that I can learn. So by the time you get closer to that destination, that might not actually be your destination, because you get closer to the island, you see more from as you're getting digging, and you're going more in the ore, and you're seeing things on the island, and you're seeing smoke, and you're seeing taxis, and you're seeing crazy stuff that you never thought that was going to be part of your plan. So then you think, hang on a minute, that destination, not somewhere that I want to go and put my boat. So then you go in a different direction, and then you start heading towards another one. And then you get there again, and you get closer to it, and you're like, oh, is this one worth doing? Is this one worth, getting and achieving and getting on ground and getting in the sand? And eventually what will happen is, because you started with that first goal, because you started with that big destination, you were able to then change your destination as you went through and learned more and decided better as you evolved. So the destination or the goal that you have, the goals that you're setting, and not just about you getting there and being like, yes, I made it. It's actually about, well, firstly, you probably wouldn't have got your ass on a boat to paddle towards it if you didn't have a goal. When times are hard, the sea is stormy, it's so easy to go backward, or it's so easy to give up if you don't have that destination that you're trying to get towards. So in those harder times when the water is more rough and the rain is coming and maybe there's blooming sharks around you, you'd still end up going towards that destination because you've got that in your mind that you want to go there. And as you get closer, there'll be more lessons to learn and more things that you learn on the way towards that destination, because you would have done stuff in the boat, paddling daily, sleeping there, learning how to fish, eat food. You would have learned some things along the way. And those things would have been life lessons and things that would teach you from a mindset perspective, from a physical capabilities and emotional perspective, how well you're faring. And I guarantee when you get in that boat and you get closer to that destination, you'll have changed emotionally, physically, and mentally in whichever way you were meant to by the design of the task that you had in hand. So a lot of people mistaken needing or not having a goal, and then they feel like they are unsatisfied. They feel that they are not able to manage anything. So it's so easy when you don't set that destination to do nothing. It's so easy to put it off until next week. It's so easy to not get in the boat and go anywhere. And isn't life always about, yeah, I'm here right now, but where do I want to go? How do I want to be? How do I want to act? What experiences do I want to have? And if you feel that that destination or that goal is worth the experience of, like, I would love to know what it was. I would love, like, for me personally, I would love to know what type of position I would be in if I gave a full year to muscle building and I went and competed and seen if I could actually be competitive. That's my curiosity. That's my stepping on the edge of the marina and going, I'm going to step into that boat and start paddling. Because ultimately, you want to be in a better place than where you're at right now. And you can either step on the boat and go towards your goals and go towards the destination, whether you find it difficult, whether it's easy, whether you've got so much shit going on. Eventually, you're going to have to get in the boat and go and paddle forwards. Or you can stay aboard the place you're at right now. You can stay in the marina that you're in right now. That, by the sounds of it, isn't going to be a particularly useful one and isn't doing any favors for you right now. You may be gaining weight. You may be really unhappy with the way that you look. You may be unconfident. You may be, sick of, eating like shit and feeling guilty about it. But unless you get in that boat, nothing can be done. Nothing can be done. And of course, when you are out in sea, that journey is really, really important. So when you get to that place, it's about what did the lessons of the journey tell you? So when you were on that boat, did you learn how to fish? Did you learn how to paddle properly? Did you learn how to feed yourself, water yourself? How did you learn to, survive for such a long period of time for that boat anyway? But if you want to take that in dieting perspective or in changing the way that you look perspective, getting on that boat and setting that goal of losing 15 kilos or 20 kilos, the journey isn't just about, oh, I've lost 20 kilos. Well, look at me. It's actually like, well, we're on the journey to losing 20 kilos. I learned how to manage my nutrition. I learned how to drink enough water. I learned what calories were. I learned how to train effectively on my own. I learned how to be disciplined with myself. I learned how to manage social events. I learned how to eat appropriately for the size that I want to be. I learned how to stop overeating. I learned how to stop snacking. I learned how to incorporate the best foods and the tasty foods. I started making recipes. I ate chocolate every day. Whatever that journey entails for you, they're the bloody lessons. And I wish I could really tell everybody this, that they would get through to it, that if you lose 20 kilos, it doesn't fucking matter unless you actually learn along the way. Because here's the kicker. If you don't learn, let's say, for example, you're on that boat and you just sit there on your ass on the boat and you didn't do anything but got to your destination by look, hook, or by crook. How are you going to go back on that boat if you never learned how to pedal? How are you going to be able to eat food when you get to that place because you've not learned how to fish? How are you going to learn how to paddle or maneuver or build if you've never learned it on the way there? And that's the same as when you lose 10 to 15 kilos or 20 kilos. The people that are just focused on losing 20 kilos will do anything to get them there. And they miss all of the lessons, so that when they lose 20 kilos, it's almost like you'll gain it back very quickly. And there's so many people that just say, give me a plan, just give me something to do, and I'll 100% do it. I'm like, all right, that's cool, but you're almost putting yourself in a situation, and I mean almost, you are putting yourself in a situation to always regain your weight back because you never learn anything along the way. Following the same meal plan for 12 weeks, 16 weeks, going in the gym, doing your steps, doesn't teach you shit about how to maintain it for life, doesn't teach you shit about how to keep it off when you're there, doesn't teach you shit about actually doing it again on your own or, doing it a different way. And the journey on the way that you paddle, the way that you learn on the paddling experience towards your destination on that boat of yours is the reasons why when you get there, you're going to be successful. It's the reason why you're going to be there. When you get there, you can hop on the next boat to the next place. And you can keep chopping and changing and going from one destination to another because you learn how to do the things effectively. And if you do go from one goal to another and another, eventually you're going to have to know how to bloody paddle because you're not just going to get there by luck. You're not going to get there just by, fingers crossed, I hope this works, right? You're going to have to be purposeful in your information, purposeful in your education, purposeful in the journey and your actions that you got. So as much as that is a big analogy and a tangent. The goals and the reasons why you set goals that are large and then also break it down into smaller bits is because you need a destination to go towards. You need something that is going to have the desire for you to go, I'm going to get in the boat now because over there looks fucking amazing. And then when you're on that boat, you learn and you educate yourself and you learn all of the things that need to happen whilst you're on that journey to be successful later down the line for whatever goal that is. Like if I break that down into competing, I'm going to learn how to really dig to the bottom ends of bodybuilding body fat level. I'm going to learn how to pose and learn how to do these specific positions on stage in my little shorts. I'm going to learn about the tans. I'm going to learn about how to train for the next year that's going to build as much muscle as possible. I'm going to learn about how to optimize my sleep, how to optimize my nutrition, my anabolics, everything like that to optimize it to the best of my ability. I'm going to optimize and look at how to improve this, how to improve that. And it's in that pursuit of all these things that you're going to learn. Does that end goal become possible? Because if I didn't learn along the way on that journey, all the separate entities of what it takes to have that goal, I just wouldn't get the goal, right? Because if you imagine me rocking up to this bodybuilding competition and not having learned anything along the way, firstly, I wouldn't get to the level of conditioning that I would do. And two, I wouldn't know how to pose. I wouldn't know what tan to put on. I wouldn't know what to manipulate my water. I wouldn't know what to do when I get there. So it's about the learning along the way. And I will learn from the muscle building phase, how to optimize things. I'll learn from the dieting phase, how to really take body fat down as low as possible whilst keeping some level of sanity to some degree. And I'll learn all of the little bits in between. And when you become curious about learning and you know that what you're trying to do is a learning experience, then you can never fail. You can never fail. It's all these people that want this all or nothing mentality. And all or nothing mentality comes because you think that you've got nothing to learn. You think that you can't learn any more than what you're at right now. You can't do any better than what you've got right now. Because when you've done something that hasn't worked, you hit the fuck it, it's not working. Like a spoiled kid. But actually, when you open your mind and you open your heart to a level of curiosity and an understanding of that, what do I need to learn to get better? What do I need to do to get better than where I am right now? What aspects do I need to improve upon? And when you do that, all or nothing never really exists. Quite convenient, right? Because curiosity kills all or nothing. So when you are setting these goals, I'm going to bring this back around now. So you're going to set goals. I would definitely urge you to set that long-term goal that you then reverse engineer, just like having a financial target. If you want to earn £10,000 in a year's time or 5 years' time from a job that you haven't got yet, you need to find out the job that you want. You need to find out how much it pays, and you need to find the job description that it comes from. Then you need to look at what jobs the people that have those jobs did beforehand, because then you need to look at your second stepping stone. So you look at the jobs that are prerequisite to those jobs, and you look at the ladder all the way back to where you are right now, so you know exactly your next move. Like if I was looking at my company and you were looking at all the way to the CEO level, which is me, you would look at, okay, we have, you come on as just a normal trainer. Then you would have an advanced trainer. Then you would have a senior trainer, and then you would have head of education. Then you would have above head of education, you'd have head of operations, and above head of operations, then you would have me, CEO. So if you wanted to get to CEO, you would have to know all the job descriptions for all of those positions above, and then work on how to get those particular things over time. The same with goals. If you don't know where you're heading, then you're not going to paddle as fast as you could do, or in the right direction, or when it gets hard. So you need to know what's going to happen in 1 year's time or 2 years' time, and then you can reverse engineer that. That's why everybody at Autonomy will have a goal of autonomy, right? It's this implicit infinitive goal that you will all desire at the end of your time with us. So here's the thing. If you desire fat loss after the fat loss phase, you will fall off. If you desire maintenance after the maintenance phase, you may fall off. If you desire something that is infinitive, so something that can never be ending, and it just comes down to a simple principle of trying to be in control of your health and fitness, which is never ending, always repeated, and always a daily effort. You can never go wrong in being able to try and achieve that and get better, because most people just end up having that 12-week goal. When they hit that 12-week goal, or they don't, then they hit the fuck it button. Then they go and throw the toys at the pram. They move away from coaching, or they forget to diet, and they hit fuck it, I'm just going to eat what I want. Then they gain another 10 kilos, and the cycle repeats again. And then when you have people that just focus on, I just want to maintain my weight for a couple of weeks after a diet, and then I'll be good, forever. And then those people maintain it for a couple of weeks afterwards, and then something big, something stressful happens in their life, and then they go, well, fuck it, it's gone. I did it for a while, and now I can't be asked again. But it's always a definitive goal. Is that I want to achieve maintenance, I want to achieve fat loss, or that 10-kilo ranger. But you almost need a definitive goal if you are looking at your health and fitness to keep you going for the next 20, 30 years of your life, because you're not going to diet for 30 years, 40 years. You're not going to go to the gym every single day or 3 times a week, 4 times a week to shift body fat or to, tone your legs. When the reality is that could be done. That's a 6-month goal, not a 7-year goal. So when you finish your fat loss, then you don't go to the gym because you're like, well, I was only going to the gym to lose weight anyway. So what you start with from a goal setting perspective is you start with infinite goals. You start at that end point and say, what is the next 20, 30 years going to look like for me? What do I need? So most people that, if you're listening to this from a Gen Pop perspective and you are someone that is got a corporate job, you're living the dream with your family, or you've got a missus and you are like working up the ladder or whatever you're doing from a bit, you might have a business, you might be a CEO of a company, whatever. You have this goal that that you want to stay in shape, and you want to be healthy, and you want to be fit and healthy in the long term. You want to have health as a kind of priority, so you don't die young and you don't have any issues around obesity and heart conditions and all that type of stuff, especially, which is very, very popular within the or very, very common within the Asian community, pill culture and all. You want to get to 50 and 60 and not be popping 12 pills a day. And that is the end goal of that, is to have control over your health and fitness so that you don't get things swept away. So you don't get, for 5 years, I just didn't give a fuck, or 4 years, I didn't give a fuck, or when I had kids, and then for the next 10 years after that, I didn't care about my body and now I want it back. You don't get to that point if you have this infinite goal of autonomy. So every single client that comes on board at Autonomy will have the desired goal of always having autonomy with their health and fitness. They don't get out of that responsibility pathway because ultimately their biggest responsibility is their own health and fitness. So if you could say that, okay, cool, Nath, I get what you're saying. Autonomy, or the controlling of your health and fitness or your actions on a day-to-day basis, is your number one priority forever. Okay, cool. So then what do I do in the next year? So the next year, if you're currently wanting a fat loss phase and you're not in the shape that you want to, then in 1 year's time, you're going to be in the shape that you want to, and you are going to be maintaining your weight for 6 months. So in 1 year's time, your next goal, so outside of autonomy and being in control of your health and fitness, in 1 year's time, I am going to be 15 kilos down, and I am going to be maintaining my body weight between 0 and 4 kilos for upwards of 3 to 4 months. That's where I'm going to be at. Okay, so then what's my 4-month goal? Well, if I've got 15 kilos to lose, I'm currently 80 kilos, and you want to lose at around 1% a week of your body weight, that's going to be around about 0.8 per week. Therefore, your job of losing 15 kilos might take you 4 months, might take you 5 months. So therefore, now you've broken down your goals into, you've got your dieting phase, which is going to take 4 months, which is going to lead you up to April. Then from April to the next 6 months, up to the year point, you're going to be maintaining your weight and learning how to maintain it and eat like a normal person, not like a dieter. And after the 1 year, then you are going to, chase that autonomy, that always controlling, always going to set new goals, and you're always going to set new things from a training perspective, and you're going to go and chase those. But most of your work nutritionally and most of your work habitually will be done in that first year. So you've broken that down into 3 already meaningful slots. You've got your fat loss phase, which will take 4 months. Then you've got your maintenance phase, which will take 6 months. And then you have the rest of the time looking at different goals that you enjoy in the later down term. But that's all come down from setting that long-term goal. And then it's now been chunked down into 2 different particular portions. And then you look at, okay, well, I've got 4 months to lose 15 kilos. How am I going to do that? So then now you have to start saying, what do I need to do tomorrow that's going to contribute towards my goals? So if you want to lose 0.8 a week, you damn sure better know that you're going to be doing at least 10,000 steps on a day-to-day basis. You're going to be training a couple of times a week, 3 to 4 times. And you're going to be looking after your nutrition and making sure that it's accurately in a calorie deficit most days, if not every day. And you're going to repeat those processes until the body fat is off. Legitimately, body fat loss and body weight management is very fucking simple on a calculation perspective. It's very, very simple on a mathematical perspective and looking at exactly what you've got to do. It's the doing that is the hardest part out of all of it. And this is where getting a coach or getting someone that will help you with the methods that you're utilizing and how you are holding yourself accountable and how you're changing your habits and behaviors over time then that will be the biggest thing out of all of it. Because once you set those goals, they're really set in stone and they can be achieved very, very nicely. But it's what you do daily that would really matter. Let's say, for example, with this one, the boat analogy again is that, let's say you're looking at dietary methods. That journey that you're on in that boat, let's say if that boat was Weight Watchers, or the boat was low carb or keto diets or shake diet. Now, those boats, when you take them paddling, you get off to a really, really fast start, but they've got a hole at the bottom. And no matter how fast you go towards that destination, the boat always sinks before you get to the destination. And even if you get to that destination, the boat sunk so you can't get off the fucking island. And what I mean by that is that when you choose dietary methods like Weight Watchers, keto diets, smooth juice fasts, what else we got? We got Cambridge diets and soup diets and all that bollocks. They have an impenetrable flaw, which is you cannot do it for the rest of your life. You can't keep buying smoothies and shakes and eating them every single day. You can't not touch a carb at some point in your life. And you definitely can't, do Weight Watchers and do sins for the rest of your life. It would be a very, very miserable existence. And that's why when you are looking at picking the boat that you're going to utilize, the boat is the most crucial thing, because everyone has destinations that they want to go to. Everybody has positions that they would like to be, or, islands that they'd like to go and conquer. But without a decent boat, especially from a fat loss perspective, without the method of dieting being decent, you'll always sink or get eaten by the sharks before you even get to the destination. And that boat needs to be sturdy. That boat needs to be, fucking bulletproof. And that boat needs to be something that you can then take on to other destinations and other goals when you have them. And that's the minefield of the fitness industry. And it's the minefield of the methods that a lot of people take, because everyone's a one-trick pony. But imagine there being a marina and there's 20 different boats, and every boat is designed for a different person, and it's not the same boat for every single person. It's not cookie cutter. It's not the same plan for every single client if they got a diet, but they have multiple boats. They have 20, 50 different boats in this marina, and you can go and try one of them. And then the next steps, if that didn't work and you ended up drowning, you can then move to the next boat to see if that works for you. And eventually you'll go through all of the boats in the marina and you will find one that will take you to your destination. Some boats are made for sailing, and some of them will go in very, very windy spots, but won't be particularly good, in big high seas. Some big boats are yachts and they can go the distance anywhere, but they might not be cool, or they might not get you there fast enough. Or you might have a jet ski and that'll get you just so far, but then you can't take it on long distance journeys because you run out of petrol. So you'll always need to try different methods and different boats when you're looking at your goal of fat loss. And that's what the really most important part is, that the goal setting is there. And that's hopefully give you some ideas on how you could, set those goals out and make them meaningful in terms of have infinite goals at the end. So something that you can never achieve. So you got that constant quest for betterment on a terms of 30, 50 year basis. Then you look at, you've obviously got things in between the 1 year and the 50 year, but for the purpose of what we're talking about from a goal setting perspective, once you do that 1 year backwards, you'll be able to reset them in 1 year's time. So you do the 1 year goal of being in shape for life and never having to diet again and never wanting to go through a process like that again. Then at the 4 month mark, you've got the 15 kilos that you want to lose. And you've got all of these reverse engineered points all the way down to which boat do you pick to get on, who's going to take you there. And you can take yourself there and you can build your own boat. But if you're not what's the technical term for person that bakes boats? Maybe engineer. If you're not an engineer or Noah and his fucking ark, you're going to fail a lot in that pursuit. And that's why, if I look at that same journey that I'm speaking about now, and in that analogy to finances or business, I always got a coach, always got someone to take me through it, a mentor, someone that's been there, done that, got the t-shirt in the same situations that I've been. And then when you get that, then they give you the ready-made boat that will take you to that other side of the world or to that other destination that you've got. And that's where the most powerful things come from, that side of things. But anyway, so that's how I would break down your goals for the next year. look factually at what you've done in the last year. And if you are planning on doing something that you've done last year that didn't work, please don't do it. Like, how many times do you have to put your hand on the stove when it's hot to learn that that's not the right thing to do? And it's the same with factually looking at, let's say, for example, factually, every time I went on a low carb diet, after 3 weeks, I craved sugar and I ate sugar. Okay, so factually, low carb diets don't work for you. It's not your discipline. It's not the level of motivation. Sure, that helps, but eventually you would have done it anyway, regardless of how many weeks it would have been. So it's factually not a great idea for you. If the last time you calorie counted, you lost 10 kilos, and then when you stopped calorie counting, you gained 10 kilos, that's factually something that works. And when you do it, you get great results. So maybe you use that again. But factually look at your behaviors in the past, and they will dictate your future, always. Then secondly is decide on what boat that you're taking and the reasons for why you're also doing this goal. Fat loss goals don't independently make you happier. Fat loss goals of losing 10 kilos don't automatically make you more confident. And the emotions that you're trying to get from this particular goal, 10 kilos is going to make you more confident. My husband might love me a little bit more. I want to feel sexy naked. They don't get like that because you lost 10 kilos all of the time. You may get that short burst when you first see it, you're like, oh, looking a bit sexy in the mirror, great. But in 3 months' time, if you're still looking like that, you're not going to feel like that every day because the stress of the environment, stuff like that. So you have to really break down what's actually going to make you feel that way and whether that's something that's achievable by feeling that way every single day. You can't feel happy 100% of the time, but you can feel less sad most of the time. So your goal is not going to make you or take these emotions and feelings away or make you achieve these emotions and feelings. They're just going to add to it and the potential for it to be okay. But most of the stuff around, emotions and feelings is all up here. Like, you can make yourself feel a particular way, even if you never lost the weight. You just have to do a lot of work on yourself to love the skin that you're in or feel confident. And that confidence comes down to a lot of other things. It comes down to experience. It comes down to faking it until you make it. It comes down to, telling yourself that what you're talking about and always walking a walk. So there's so many different things that confidence comes down to as just instead of just, what size is your dress. And then lastly, it's going to be making sure that you do have a destination. Make sure that you have that clear line of destination, irrespective of if you failed before. If you failed before, it's more of a reason to set out a destination and get super, super clear on it. Because without a destination, you will not get in your boat and paddle towards that. You will not, as you go through the journey, you will not keep weathering the storm, not learn how to fish, not learn how to cook, not learn how to put, fix a hole in the bottom of your boat. You're not going to be able to do any of these things and weather the storm of you getting to your destination. So when things get hard, you need that destination in your mind to say, this is worth paddling for. And hopefully you've learned how to reverse engineer this particular thing so that you know what to work for in the next 30, 50 years. You know what to work for in the 1 year. If this is your fat loss goals, then, you've got that impending goal of 3 to 5 months of dieting, 6 months of maintaining, and then you then reset those goals for next year and the year after that. And always in that headspace of that, this goal that we want is there needs to be an infinite goal, the responsibility to stay in control of your health and fitness, the autonomy of your health and fitness is that long-term goal that can never be truly completed because you can never be fully 100% on it all of the time, but you can always have the quest to be close to it. And most people that have that autonomy mindset of, this fitness thing is for life and it's always a quest to get better, they're the ones that stay in shape, not the people that think that they completed it after, doing a dieting phase. It's just bollocks. Anyway, guys, I hope you have had a lovely time. Hope you're having a lovely Christmas because this is out between Christmas and New Year. We will set our sights on 2022, some big goals ahead. And I appreciate all of the listens so far in 2021 and all of the podcast viewers that have been on podcast guests and viewers that have also been on here too. So mucho apreciado from the bottom of my heart. So thank you very much and have a good 2020 end of 2021.